Hi, Joey. Sarah from The Upcoming. A pleasure to have you here with us.
Yeah.
Huge congrats. What a movie.
Have you seen it?
I have, actually, yes. So some people will have seen the 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger version. Some people might be coming to this fresh. Some people might have read the book. What can they expect from this version of The Running Man?
What makes this version special? Well, I think that it's a faithful telling of the book. The Arnold version is very different from the book. You know, the Arnold version is set in like an enclosed arena. This version, like the book, it's open worlds. The runners can move city, they can disguise themselves, and the hunters, of which I'm one of them, are kind of like undercover operatives. So they could be dressed as a construction worker, as a croupier in a casino. So it was super fun, playing all these different kind of disguises and pursuing Glenn Powell throughout city after city after, you know.
And what's quite funny is obviously the book was written in the 70s, first adapted in the 80s, but was supposed to be set in 2025.
Yeah.
But that vision of this year is quite different. So what kind of has come true? What's different? What from that vision of the future that they had in the past?
I think it's quite timely, this film, because it deals with corporations control everything, an increased police state surveillance, and yeah, the world is in an interesting place right now, and I think this film really touches on some of those issues I think a lot of people will relate to. But it's got a kind of retro-futuristic aesthetic. That's very different.
And that feels like something that Edgar Wright is so good at. The precision he has, making these stylized worlds. What was he like to work with, and what was it like being on these incredible sets?
Yeah, I mean, working with Edgar Wright as an actor is a dream come true. He is a true visionary. You know, you work with directors sometimes that don't have a clear vision. Edgar has shot and edited this film a year before you step on set, so you're really in the hands of someone that knows exactly what they want. I mean, it's a dream come true. And I saw the film on Sunday, and I was blown away. I messaged him and I said, Edgar, this exceeded my expectations, which were already high. You know.
And playing this hunter, I mean, I guess on the face of it, you're very much one of the villains. Kind of a bit of a James Bond-esque element to it, I bet, getting into these different guises. See, as the story wears on, we realize that actually everybody's just fighting for survival, all for different reasons. So I guess how much fun did you have with the character, but maybe also finding the humanity that might be behind a character like this?
That's a really good point, because they're not archetypal villains. They're employees, they're celebrities in their own right. But based on the ratings of the show, the producers of the show may turn on the hunters possibly. So then the hunters are having to fight for themselves. You know, it gives a dynamic and it humanizes them, doesn't it?
Did you have a favorite kind of incarnation of your character, favorite scene?
There is a dream sequence in the film set in New York, and I think that is the most stylish outfit. I've got this concierge outfit, you know the scene, coming out the elevator, the white gloves. I think, yeah, that's my favorite look.
And seeing Glenn Powell step into this role, I mean, I guess we've seen him play charmers, heroes. There's a slightly different edge here because he's a desperate man more than he is sort of, like we say, an archetypal hero. What was it like seeing him take on that character?
Glenn worked so hard. I remember on the call sheet and the day out of days, Glenn had something like 136 days of filming back to back. So to see the effort he put in, the exhaustion of a role like this, turning up day after day, it's really inspiring. As a leading man on this project, the kind of exhaustion and endeavor you see in the character, he is channeling something real, because that was his lived experience making this.
And he was working on the moral arc, but let's face it, he's also absolutely ripped. So the physical challenge.
I even said to him, he's more ripped than Arnold was in the original.
And finally, you know, what would you think a modern day audience can take away from this? Is it kind of a warning? Because obviously we are at a point not so far away from this dystopian future where we are always watching each other, where we do seem to sometimes get some kind of enjoyment out of watching people suffer. So is it kind of a warning to us to not go down the road like this world we see?
Yeah, well, look, if the cost of living starts to increase, and exploitation through corporate entertainment increases. And there are shows where you can win a lot of money if you're willing to debase yourself, disgrace yourself, hurt yourself, or be hunted, being the most extreme element of that. Yeah, I think it is Orwellian. It's a modern Orwellian warning for where the future could go.
Very quickly, what's next for you after this?
I filmmake. I've written a movie that I'll be starring in that we should shoot in Holland next year. So that's what I'm gearing up towards.
Can you give us any glimpse of that genre?
I would say it's a psychological thriller. But think of something like Sleeping with the Enemy, where you've got sort of a Trojan horse that is in someone's life. That's as much as I'll say. And it's set around the cannabis coffee shop scene in Holland, which is something that hasn't really been focused on, the inner workings of that. So yeah.
Are you taking notes from Edgar while you're on set? Like, oh,
yeah, definitely. You can learn his editorial style. That's the thing. When you watch this movie, you're like, this is a hell of a movie to assemble in post-production.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time. Huge congrats on the movie. Really enjoyed tonight. Thank you.